Let's just get right on Twig. Welcome to Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show that tackles everything from the infamous GTA 6 trailer leak to GamePass never coming to Nintendo with some games in between. If you're listening on the podcast version of the show, be sure to give us a good review, click that like on YouTube, or come and listen live on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch, or sometimes over on TikTok or YouTube, depending on what we're doing that week. So we're going to start off the show, as we always do, with our What Did You Watch, Play, and Read over the past weekend. And I'm actually going to let that be the way that our special guest that is here with us today, other side, our special guest here with us today introduces themselves. So what did you watch? What did you play? What did you read? Let us know in the chat as well what you've been into.
Yeah, watch. I've been catching up on Freerin. Thank you, Nate. You've gotten me addicted. Appreciate that. So that's been my main thing, and also H Bomber Guy. Wow, I just really butchered that one. Sorry, H Bomber Guy on YouTube just dropped a 4-hour long YouTube video, which I watched over the course of several installations over the past couple days on plagiarism, which was fascinating. Play Sea of Stars. Also, thank you, Checkpoint. That one's coming from here, and I am so behind everybody else looking at the Button Bash Brigade channel, but I'm enjoying that game so much, even though I'm very bad at it. And Read, I picked up a used copy of it's The Hound of the Baskervilles, Sherlock Holmes story.
Yeah.
I got a copy of that in a used book bin, so I've been starting to read through that.
Very nice.
That's about it.
Good stuff. Well, I have also been watching lots of anime. I have caught up to the dub on Freyrin, so I'm kind of branching out to some things that I've been sleeping on for the past couple months and really almost a year. I'm almost done with Eminence in Shadow, and so that is one that I think season 2 is coming out very early next year. It's a bit harem anime for me. It's not something I really strongly recommend, but it is just a fun little romp. To Your Eternity, on the polar opposite side of that, is the saddest thing I've ever watched in my entire life. It is so emotionally wrenching consistently, and I do not want to watch season 2. I just finished season 1 finally, and maybe I'll watch season 2 whenever I just feel like bawling my eyes out, but it was so good. It was so gorgeous and so pretty and such a good story, and I hate it so much. I've also been playing Sea of Stars quite a bit. I've been hooked on Sea of Stars, so thanks so much to Zando for making that recommendation over on the Button Bash Brigade, which is our monthly video game club, kind of like a book club with video games. And it's so good. I just got to a part that made me smile real big, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it made me very happy when I got there. So I'm just enjoying it. It's something I was saying today in the Discord that it has gotten to the point now where I brought my Steam Deck to work today to play during the Pomodoro segment. So like Pomodoro is like 25 minutes work, 5 minutes play, 25 minutes work, 5 minutes play, 25, 5, 15 or 30. Like I have been doing those 5-minute chunks of just Sea of Stars because I just got to keep playing. And it's good. It's real good. I am quickly changing my mind on what I think the rankings should be this year for the Game Awards. It's changing me away from a whole lot of the games that I thought I knew, and now I'm like, this one's real good. I am a little scared because I feel like a lot of people that I've seen play it reach a point where they like plateau and they're like, I didn't like that. And then they get to the like true ending and then they're happy. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but I feel like I can't imagine it backfiring at this point. So maybe famous last words, not sure. And then reading, I'm reading a lot all the time, but my thing that I am most proud of right now is I have reached chapter 1000 of One Piece. I have been trucking through One Piece and I have at long last gotten there, and now it feels like it's just it's a smooth sail to catching up with everybody else now that I've reached that beautiful 1000 mark. And it's not just 1000, I'm at like 1015 or something. So I'm seriously trucking along, and I think I'm almost done with the Wano arc, or maybe I just finished Wano arc. I'm not quite sure where I'm at there, but it's good stuff. Good stuff. I'm enjoying One Piece all over again in a way that I didn't think I was going to after falling off the wagon many years ago. But I'm enjoying it. And so that is what I am watching, playing, and reading. If you'd like to let us know in the chat, please do drop what you're watching, playing, and reading right now. I'd love to hear what's going on in your life. But with that, we're actually going to get started with some of our trending headlines, some of the news that is happening this week. We're going to start off with Rockstar. The gaming community experienced a significant disruption with the early leak of the GTA 6 trailer, which was confirmed for a 2025 release. This premature leak led to the trailer's unexpected release, causing chaos among content creators who faced issues like community strikes while trying to post their reactions. Rockstar Games, in response to the leak, officially released the first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 ahead of its scheduled reveal. The incident elicited a strong reaction from Rockstar developers who expressed their frustration and disappointment over the leak, highlighting the challenges in controlling information in the digital era and its impact on the game's marketing strategy and the development team. This was quite a surprise to me. I missed when it leaked, but I didn't miss whenever Rockstar was like, hey, it leaked, so please watch ours instead. And so I managed to catch it early, but I was very confused because I was like, I thought this wasn't coming out until tomorrow. And it's just so weird. It's such a weird time to be a game development company, and it's such a weird time to be doing anything in tech that has a lot of hype around it, because it feels like you just can't break past these leaks. So what were your thoughts when you heard this, Perry?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty active conversation over on the Discord about it. I mean, it's been cool to see everybody's takes on it. I know there was some interest because there was a bit of speculation when the announcement came that they were going to be dropping it, just regarding people's sort of either interest, excitement, disillusionment over GTA and Rockstar. But it was really, I mean, I can understand the frustration coming from the development team for sure. More so, if it's the fans are really excited about it. Just already a lot of picking apart of what's there, and there's not much because it's a teaser, obviously. But I can understand kind of being able to control that and like being able to share on your own schedule. So yeah, it's something that's becoming more and more common nowadays to have things leak early and drop and then sort of like force it. Gotta wonder sometimes if those are strategic leaks or if that's like actual leaks, but right. It does seem like, given the context and some of the feedback, that it was intended to be released as an event. So anyway, it seems like folks are excited, and we've got a couple of years more of drops ahead of us. So
I thought this was more newsworthy, but there's lots of reports now coming out about like how many millions upon millions of views it's already amassed over just the quick 24 hours. So it totally makes sense why Rockstar wanted to jump back on and be like, okay, if we're doing this, let's buckle up, we're doing it. And I appreciate their effort and appreciate that they kind of quickly made that decision and turnaround. I know those kind of decisions are not easy to make in the kind of bureaucratic mess that is the upper leadership of these companies. But the fact that they were able to quickly pull that trigger and be like, all right, let's do it, shows that they were totally comprehending just how big of a deal this trailer drop was going to be and how much they needed to get ahead of that. Whereas on the polar opposite end of the spectrum, you got Pokemon, who just had another leak last week as well about their upcoming DLC Part 2, and Pokemon and Nintendo Company are like, whatever, leak it, I guess. Like, who cares? It's our game, and you're going to buy it anyway, and so get over it. So, yeah, it's interesting to see the differences of reaction from the various companies that you get into, but it feels like this went as well as it could have. I think that, of course, the shutdowns, the strikes, the kind of mess that has happened, it has been as minimal as could be in this circumstance. And I'm glad to not be too aware of any of the actual consequences of this action. And it seems that at least at Checkpoint and in our community, people were excited about it and were able to be excited about it without having anything too spoiled or upset for them. So I think it's good stuff. Let us know if you had any thoughts, if you were upset about the leak, or if you were just kind of whatever. This happens all the time. You're used to it at this point. But otherwise, we're going to get into our next story, which is about Fortnite.
Yes. Fortnite's latest episode, Chapter 5, Season 1, Underground, brings a host of exciting new features and additions. This update introduces a new island, complete with a train system that traverses the entire map. Over 1,200 Lego-style outfits. Players can engage with new bosses, and the update also includes a fresh battle pass featuring characters like Peter Griffin and Solid Snake. The gameplay is further enriched with weapon mods for customized arsenals, and the new island showcases points of interest highlighting the conflict between the Society and the Underground factions. Additional elements such as customizable car bodies and wheels, new weapons like the cluster cleaner and grapple blade, and other items add depth and variety to the gaming experience, keeping Fortnite fresh and engaging for its audience. Yeah.
I have no care at all in the world.
I just saw that they dropped a Peter Griffin skin. I was like,
Yeah.
I had to check it. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen it?
Yes. It's very buff Peter
It's
Griffin.
horrifying.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
He's quite ripped. I've already seen, there were already clips. I think the new season started yesterday or maybe the day before, and there's already clips on TikTok of Ninja. So it's like they waste no time with the turnaround on the new skins and the new characters and making all the characters dance all the different dances and make fun of them. It's a good time. I'm excited about the Lego stuff. I have no intention of playing Fortnite, but Lego is my childhood, and so if I get the opportunity to know that my nephew, who absolutely loves Fortnite, can get to also experience some Lego in that world, I'm here for it. I think it's good enough.
Yeah, my daughter is absolutely obsessed with Lego right now, and so thankfully she knows nothing about Fortnite because I don't have to worry about trying to explain why we're not going to buy any Lego skins in Fortnite. Although if she happens to find anything that's in either Minecraft or increasingly Roblox, I'm in trouble. So we'll have to see about that one.
It feels like it's just a matter of time before we're all like sucked into the vortex that is Fortnite. It amazes me just how it just keeps on trucking and people keep on loving it and eating it up, and they get all the characters and license deals, and it just amazes me. Fortnite's tenacity and their willingness to keep pushing forward, even amidst the harder times. Of course, if you missed, I didn't mention in this particular one, but the actual episode drop did feature a couple songs from Eminem, which was an unexpected experience. They every now and again will bring in a musical artist to kick off their new opportunities, and this one, sure enough, was Eminem. It was fun. It was good. I watched it. It was a goofy, fun time. I was here for it, but a little bit ridiculous to see M show up in Fortnite. Maybe he plays. Maybe. I don't know. Who could say? All right, we're going to move on into another story that I could not care less about, but is news, and so we need to talk about it. Halo, the much anticipated, okay, ChatGPT wrote this. The much anticipated second season of Halo, the series, is set to premiere on February 8th, 2024, as revealed alongside its first trailer by Paramount Plus. The upcoming season will continue to feature Pablo Schreiber as the iconic Master Chief Spartan 117. The trailer offers a grim look at the impending threats facing Earth and humanity, particularly highlighting the looming danger from the Covenant. It appears to set a tense and dramatic tone for the new season, building upon the narrative and action elements that have been central to the series. I did not enjoy the first season of Halo. I don't even think I made it through like 3 or 4 episodes, and I was like, this is an okay show. Do you agree with this much anticipated show, Perry? Are you just anticipating like crazy?
You know, it's one of those like we had Paramount Plus, and then my daughter stopped watching Paw Patrol, so we had no reason to keep it. And so I never got a chance to watch it. But the bits that I saw, I was yeah. I think highly anticipated might be a bit of a stretch on ChatGPT's part. Maybe AIs
Maybe
are just
people are
really
excited
into it
for
because
it.
they all like Cortana. I mean, maybe ChatGPT and Cortana are buds, and it's like
That's true.
I got to show support for my friend. You know, like they, you know, AI is just breaking into the acting scene and stuff. You know, it's a whole thing. So my really bad joke aside, I don't know. I loved Halo growing up. I loved the lore. I read a lot of the novels when I was younger. So I think it's neat that they're finally making it. But
just out of curiosity, I did look it up, and on IMDb, it does have a 7.2, which is not too shabby. So maybe I need to just push through and try again and actually try and watch the series, because maybe it's not bad. It got a second season. Yeah. I do remember the action being pretty impressive. So I also remember some somewhat cringe and problematic scenes happening throughout, but sure. I don't know. Luckily, like, my thing is I have no skin in the game of Halo. And so I feel like I have nothing. Like, I think he takes off his helmet or whatever. I don't care. I don't care about that. That's fine. That's not going to bother me because I'm not like a major Halo fan. And so I know just enough about it to enjoy it. Hopefully, maybe I'll go back and watch it. If we're getting a second season, I feel compelled to at least give it another shot. So Time willing, we'll see. But do let us know if you are looking forward to the much anticipated second season of the Halo TV show on Paramount Plus, the also much subscribed platform, I'm certain. We're going to get into our next news story. Take it away, Perry.
I had to pick this one.
Yes.
Elon Musk, everybody's highly anticipated CEO of their companies, in a recent interview, personally responded to advertisers who have boycotted X, formerly known as Twitter, following his promotion of an anti-Semitic tweet. He directed a profane message to those advertisers, reflecting a mix of defiance and concern about the platform's future. This controversy comes as Twitter faces significant financial challenges, having lost nearly half of its advertising revenue since Musk's 44 billion with a B acquisition last year. Additionally, Musk's decision to change Twitter's iconic bluebird logo to an Art Deco inspired X has prompted reactions from social media users. Musk's character that is a very light interpretation of that. Musk's characterization of the advertisers' withdrawal as a form of blackmail highlights the ongoing tensions and challenges under his leadership, especially in balancing content moderation with freedom of expression.
This was rough. This was really rough. I went back and forth about whether or not even to include this. This is a pretty tense time. I do feel compelled to keep up with some of the more problematic things happening in the tech industry. Like we talk a lot about hirings and firings. We talk a whole lot about acquisitions here on TWIG. And so this feels particularly relevant, even if it's not in the gaming industry. It's very much in the social industry and the internet industry that we are so inherently tied to. Maybe it's just my grandmother in me, but I do have to admit, I even clutched my pearls at this kind of pretty terse language and environment during what was, I'm just used to these being a little bit more dolled up, dressed up, and professional. And so it was a surprising interview from an already fairly uncomfortable person to hear from. And I'm not saying that in a mocking way. I'm saying that in a genuine. I think Elon would probably acknowledge that about himself as well, that he's an interesting person. He's a quirky fellow. And so already having the awkwardness of that thrown in with the profanity was shocking, a shocking experience. And particularly whenever he called out Bob Iger. So it's weird. It's a very weird time. It continues to be weird with Twitter and X. I don't know. It sounds like he's ready to fold, honestly, with a lot of the things where he was like, yeah, I guess if the advertisers pull, then they're going to be the death of Twitter. And maybe he's right. Maybe he's wrong. That felt a little bit like brushing it under the rug for me, but yeah, very bizarre.
Yeah. It's, I'm really, sympathize with the people who work at Twitter, especially people who've been there for longer than since the acquisition happened, stuck through it, who care about the platform that they helped build and all that. As somebody who used to be a really avid Twitter user for a while, I think there's still a lot of value in what it could offer, but it's interesting to kind of watch this like case study and how to effectively ruin a company that's happening live right now. And I know it's become a bit of a trope to say, but I'm really looking forward to the inevitable Netflix documentary on what happened to Twitter, because it feels like it's just unraveling in real time right now. And so much of it is like, you can just watch as decisions are made in a very public sphere that are causing real harm to the business. And you can watch the like immediate, because of just how Twitter is and how that's sort of the platform where the announcements happen. It's like, things get said, and then you watch in real time as it affects how the platform runs and how people are or are no longer using it. So yeah, I'll be really curious to watch this one unfold. But this one was a real like eyebrow raiser for sure this week.
Yeah. It's strange. It's strange. I do think as we interpret all these things through the lens of doing good, doing no harm, and striving to grow, it's easy to point out here the potential harm being done to people's lives by the words and actions of a leader in this position. And so as a leader myself of a significantly smaller amount of people and of power, I think that leadership is bringing up people and lifting up people and raising them into positions of power themselves, empowering people. And I just don't see that happening. And so I think that is an instance of direct harm. And I hope that we see less of that and more examples of the good and the potential, as you said, that could be done out of this thing. And that at the very least, the lives that are being directly impacted by this might be the best impacted in the future. So that's where we'll leave it. But let me know if you have any thoughts about X and Elon Musk's firing off on the other side of a poorly timed tweet. But we're going to get into another quick turnaround, this time on behalf of Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer, Microsoft Gaming CEO, has clarified that there are currently no plans to bring Xbox Game Pass to PlayStation or Nintendo platforms. This statement comes shortly after Xbox CFO Tim Stewart expressed hopes of expanding Game Pass to these platforms. In a recent interview with Windows Central, Spencer emphasized that despite previous discussions and expressions of interest, the company does not intend to extend the Game Pass service to Sony's PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch consoles. This announcement marks a clear stance from Microsoft, indicating that for the time being, Xbox Game Pass will remain exclusive to its current platforms and will not be available on rival gaming platforms. A bit of a bummer for me. I would love to play Game Pass on more platforms. Not so much on PlayStation, not so much on Nintendo. I actually really want a native app in the Steam Deck. Like, that would be a dream, to not have to do the workaround for the Steam Deck, and it doesn't run as well and it's cloud gaming. Like, I would so much rather be able to use my Linux machine as a PC in that instance, and maybe make it a little bit better functionality for me, because that's what I find myself wanting to play my Game Pass games on. And the phone just doesn't cut it anymore. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on this one, Perry?
Yeah, as somebody who isn't currently much of a console gamer, this one's kind of like, I guess it kind of doesn't surprise me because of the sort of like walled gardens that seem to exist in these ecosystems. Like, I don't expect Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo to play nice with each other in that sense, other than like sort of nominally. But it's interesting that it got brought up at all, and I'm actually like, I would have never assumed it would have happened until now that it's being talked about. I'm like, kind of wondering if this stance is gonna be one of those things that gets walked back, like, you know, oh, the Xbox, the new Xbox is only gonna run downloaded games, no more discs, and then all of a sudden, actually, you know what, we're gonna have discs again, and haven't yet gotten rid of the discs entirely. So I don't know, it could happen. I actually kind of originally thought that's what Stadia was gonna go for until they then pivoted hard into kind of ruining themselves. Right. So be curious to see if something like this emerges again in a year or two, or next generation of consoles, whenever that ends up happening. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think there's a whole lot of opportunity here, and this could just be Phil kind of covering the tracks. I think especially since their CFO like said, yeah, this is totally going to happen. And then Phil was like, nope. Like, this is not actually happening. It probably is happening. And it wasn't quite yet time to have those kind of conversations or announcements. I actually could see it happening on Nintendo and not on PlayStation, and seeing it come to whatever the Switch 2 is, that hopefully comes out next holiday season. Hopefully we'll be hearing about it soon, but no promises there, because we've been saying that for years. But yeah, Nintendo going to Nintendo, and that actually leads us pretty nicely into our final segment here. So take it away.
I was like, Nate, you segued. So on the topic of Nintendo, Fumihiko Aoki, the creator of Waluigi, recently unveiled his previously scrapped character designs for, and I can't believe I'm saying this word, Wal Peach.
That's right. An
evil counterpart to Princess Peach, intended for Mario Power Tennis. These designs, shared on Aoki's Instagram, include both sketches and full-color 3D models, revealing a character inspired by the anime Yatterman's Doranjo, envisioned to command Wario and Waluigi. Initially discussed during the development of Mario Tennis for the N64, the character only had a name at that point and lacked any design sketches, although Aoki created detailed concepts for Wal Peach, including a personality described as scary when provoked. This character was ultimately not included in the game and remains unlikely to appear in future Mario Tennis titles, leaving fans to only speculate and create fan art, obviously, of what could have been.
Right. You didn't have to say that, GPT. You didn't have to include
yeah.
it.
We don't need to don't search for that fan art. I love everything about this except for the name Wal Peach. I feel like they could have done better.
Something would have had to have changed. I don't know what they would have done. It's really tricky. Just about anything doesn't work. Like, I can't come up with an instance of WA and any of Princess Peach's titles that work ever. So it is rough.
So, like, the thing is, so when they did Wario, the whole point was it was Mario, but the W was upside down M, and then Waluigi. It was like a Wa, because, like, and then his whole thing was he was Wah.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, why did it have to be Wal Peach? Not like Wa Peach could have maybe even kind of, but like the L kind of just felt like they kept grabbing things from the previous one. Like you got the W, and then we got the wall, and now we've got wall on wall peach, and I don't know, but I loved the art. The art was awesome, and I love the idea of a sort of like mirror universe peach. But I'm still waiting for my Waluigi game, so maybe that'll come someday.
Yeah. I mean, you could always also do the upside down letter thing, and a P kind of flipped on its axis a little bit and then scooted up. Could just be beach. Could just be beach. But then that's dangerous
Just
territory
beach.
as well. And it could be, either a Ryan Gosling reference and just job is beach, or very close to other words, which again, it's troublesome. It's tricky. Yeah. Zando says Warui in Japanese essentially means cheap copy and is a play on words. So that's where it comes from. And I don't know. I think maybe Warich. Maybe Warich could be something there, or I don't know, something with princess even. I don't know what they're going to do. Then nothing. They're not going to do anything with this. This is not going anywhere, so I don't know why they would need to do anything. But I did think the character design was super cute. I was super into it, and I thought it was really fun. And I hate that they didn't let them run with it. There's actually a great documentary out there kind of on the process of this and exploring some of the story about Yatterman's Duranjo. So talking a little bit about that show, showing characters that inspired it and talking about the inspiration, and then ultimately Miyamoto's response to it, and just absolutely like being like, no, we're not going to let you do this again. Like that was a terrible idea and it's not going to work. So yeah. It's an interesting story to follow, but I can't say I'm too surprised that I'm surprised that they put it out there. Like I was surprised this wasn't a leak. This wasn't anything like a big deal. It was just like years later, and this character designer was like, "Yeah, sure. You guys want to see what peach? Here you go." And that was it. And then it just kind of blew up the internet for a day and gave us some cool art to look at, and as they said, some fan art to make. And that's the end of this story. We'll probably not hear about it again. Maybe we'll hear more at the next Mario Tennis. Maybe they'll be announcing a new character based off of an anti-Peach. I doubt it. I would be very surprised. You know what? We do have the Princess Peach game coming out next year. Maybe this is a returning character, and it's going to be announced that there's like a negative version, a dark Peach, if you will, and it's going to be based off of this character design, and they're just doing a little early contribution. I'd be here for that. We'll see. It's not happening, but it could happen, but it's not going to happen. All right, with that, we're going to get into everybody's favorite segment of the show, Cryptic Critiques. That's right. It is time for Cryptic Critiques. Cryptic Critiques is the game show that we play here on our show here, TWIG, in which I will be giving 3 prompts for 5-star games that got 1-star reviews, and I will be reading off those 1-star reviews as prompts to try and guess what game I might be talking about for this one. So Perry is obviously our guest today and will be getting the ultimate guesses. So I ask that if you are in the chat, try and keep them in your brain space until we give Perry a chance to guess. But assuming that Perry is able to get it, then you can let us know what prompt gave it away for you, how early did you get it, or if you're watching this later and after the fact, be sure to let us know down in the VOD chat section when you got it by. So we're going to start with the first prompt. The first prompt, again, this is a 5-star game with a 1-star review, and this is the first prompt for it based off of those bad reviews. Prompt number 1. Playing this was a mistake, but I was glued to the game the entire time. Playing this was a mistake, but I was glued to the game the entire time. All right, that is our first prompt. It'd be tough to have anything based off of just that one alone, but maybe, who could say? All right, on to our next one. Prompt number 2. It's a very familiar meme. Me, Mom, can I have Ace Attorney? Mom, no, we have Ace Attorney at home. Ace Attorney at home, this game. Me, Mom, can I have Ace Attorney? Mom, no, we have Ace Attorney at home. Ace Attorney at home, this game. Okay, that's our second prompt. Third prompt, final prompt here. Perry, do you think you have it already? Do you want to take a stab at the guess? Or do you want to hear the third prompt?
I think I'm going to need the third prompt. I have like 2 ideas, but I'm really curious now.
Okay. All right, prompt number 3. I like how this series sometimes has actual characters, but then decides to have a guy whose only trait is being a fat nerd around for a majority of the game. I like how this series sometimes has actual characters, but then decides to have a guy whose only trait is being a fat nerd around for a majority of the game. All right, based off of those 3 prompts, what have you got? Any guesses? Stabs, shots in the dark.
I mean, I don't think this was a 5-star game.
Yeah, sometimes
Well,
it
you
is
said
rough
it-
to try and come up with the, it just sounds good. 1-star reviews for 5-star games sounds really cool.
Okay, because I was gonna say this is starting to sound. I mean, Clue 2 put me on the Danganronpa train, and then the third one definitely put me on the Danganronpa train.
Your final
So
answer?
I feel like that's my guess, but
Final
yeah,
answer
let's
is
do it.
Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc is correct. The first one
All
in the
right.
series. Yeah, the tricky part is the 5-star thing. It's definitely somebody's 5-star game.
It's your
This guy
5-star
right
game, that's
here.
for sure.
I love it so much. It made me so sad looking up reviews for this game.
Oh, I was gonna say because I'm like,
It was
there's
brutal.
no way that it's universally beloved.
Oh.
It's definitely got some detractors.
It was so brutal reading all of just toxic masculinity in the comment section of just like, real men don't play these kind of games and I'm going to go play my shooting games. And I was like, these are my favorite things in the world. And I understand they're not for everybody. And they're certainly problematic. They have a lot of characters that are troublesome, especially the first game. But, Kodaka's not a perfect person and it's not a culture that we're entirely familiar with. And it's a random game anyway. But doggone it. I love these games so much. And I knew that whenever I had a couple games lined up because I was like, Perry's got to know what they are and got to be able to guess them pretty quickly. And so I figured Danganronpa would be a fun one for you. Yeah. Plus, we get to do a dig at Hifumi from the first game right away, which I could not stand that character so much. It made me so mad because I love nerds, doggone it. And I don't think that was a fair stereotype or characterization of a nerd at all. But interesting stuff. So there you go. Danganronpa, let us know if you got it. That might have been a little too niche, but maybe you got it before Perry did. But with that, we're going to get into our next segment of the show, which is... That's right. It is To the Discord. And I see that Monokuma has joined us. I also have Monokuma right behind me here on the tree. So we've got Monokuma twice on here. If you would like to submit news to us, you can use our Discord Ask Questions, Get Answers section, !Discord in our Twitch chat at any point in time, or find our link tree, or go to discord.gg/checkpointchurch. You can join any of those ways. Or if you would like to submit news directly to us, bit.ly/DearTwig, DearTwig. Again, that is DEAR, not DEER. So DearTwig, be sure to let us know what you would like to see covered during the course of the Week in Geek. But with that, we're going to get into the first, which was submitted by Perry and is now being read by Perry.
All right. First one here. This is from Kotaku. At the Wells Fargo TMT Summit, Xbox CFO Tim Stewart discussed the transformative role of AI in game development, particularly in the areas of localization and scripting. He highlighted AI's potential to handle tasks traditionally requiring extensive manual coding, like translating games into different languages and script writing. This adoption of AI could greatly enhance efficiency in game development and potentially enable more people to participate in the development process. Stewart's comments reflect a growing trend in the gaming industry to leverage AI for increasing productivity and fostering creativity, though it also raises questions about the future job landscape for professionals currently specialized in these domains.
AI is the ever-present hot button issue right now. And so
Yeah.
I was glad that, Stewart weighed in on it. I think that it's better to weigh in on some of the positives and some of the goods than just kind of avoiding the topic altogether. So I was appreciative of that. I definitely think localization is one of the areas that I'm like, cool. That is a job that is still needed, and I hope they have people that are still checking and making sure that everything is done. But it's also a job that is often kind of the last thought of. I know in particular, like the more niche languages out there are not a lot of linguists wanting to translate. And so there's a bit of an issue sometimes where you don't have people that are there to do the localizing work. So hopefully this will make more games available to more people instead of less jobs available to people that are wanting to do localization. Like, I think particularly English Japanese, like that's a must. Let's keep that one around. That's a good job. That's the one that people want, and there are a lot of people wanting to do it. I'm sure that Spanish is another one that is probably a very big one. But some of the smaller languages that aren't quite as popular, let's let it handle that, as well as some of the more monotonous tasks that people don't want to do anyway. But it's tough. It's tough. This whole thing is so awful and frustrating for people that are like, I don't know my use in the workspace right now. And I think there's a real identity crisis. And that is my bigger concern over just how much AI is going to be helpful in the field.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who's been kind of keeping an eye on the whole games industry, a debacle this year regarding layoffs and stuff, it's something that kind of like piques my interest because, you know, we talk a lot about AI, especially with the Writers Guild and actors, screen actor strikes from this year, that it's, you know, the concern about being replaced by AI and AI sort of like cutting jobs out of the equation. I was interested to see script writing and translation in there because those are two things that are very human elements of it. You know, it's a very, especially with localization, not just the words, but the context as a big thing that gets often addressed poorly when it's done using, like, you know, a translation engine and things like that. I'll be curious to see how this pans out. I think it could be an assistive tool. I think a lot of times we see that as, oh, hello.
Hello, I'm sorry. Am I interrupting?
You are. We're on Twig.
Oh, hello. I'm so sorry. I thought it was over. I'm so sorry. Hi,
You're
everybody.
good.
Nice to see you. My bad. Bye.
Hey, Mayfly. At least it wasn't during a very serious moment as we were having heavy conversations around AI. That would be the worst. At least
something AI.
Right? Yeah.
No,
I totally understand what you're saying. And to pick up your train of thought, localization efforts sometimes can be some of the best parts of the game. Like, I think we're playing Super Mario RPG right now on Thursdays. Like, that's a wonderful example of some of those jokes would not land. We talked about Danganronpa. Are you kidding me? I mean, that is half of those things are inside jokes that had to be translated. Ace Attorney, one of my favorite franchises of all time, half of those jokes have got to be translated because they make no sense because of the Japanifornication of it all. And so there's all the mess of these games. And so they do need cultural teams, and I hope that we continue to see that effort. That's kind of why I was saying I'm hopeful that this allows for more games to be played by more people and not less jobs to be had by people. And that's, of course, an optimistic wish and probably not what's going to happen everywhere. I am hopeful, especially for the indie scene. And I want to see indie games that they could not afford a translator. They are not going to be able to afford this work. Now they'll be able to do it. And I think that is the best case scenario, and the best case use for this is helping out the little guy in the scenarios that they need more help. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. This is not going to be the last we've heard of it. It was nice to hear it from somebody as high up as the CFO of Xbox this time, though, to really get a weigh in on one of the big three. That's pretty much the most you can ask for. So very curious stuff. With that, we're going to get into our next story. Be sure to let us know your thoughts about AI there. We're going to talk about another bit of backlash here. This is from Street Fighter 6, submitted by Zando Calrissian. The recent release of Outfit 3 DLC for Street Fighter 6 by Capcom has sparked a significant backlash from the game's community due to its perceived high pricing. On November 21st, Capcom announced that all 18 characters in Street Fighter 6 would receive new costumes, each inspired by in-game illustrations. However, the pricing of these costumes, particularly the TMNT DLC, which costs around $15 or 750 fighter coins per costume, has been met with strong criticism from fans. This reaction underscores the growing concern within the gaming community about the monetization strategies employed in popular video games, where the cost of additional content like character skins is often a contentious issue. You can obviously tell my reaction just by the fact that I hadn't read this yet. And man, that's insane. That's so much for a costume for just a piece of cosmetic. Like, oh, that's gross. $15 for a single TMNT costume for your avatar, says Zando in the chat. That's disgusting. That's really brutal. I don't like to hear that at all. Yeah. Yeesh.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Mortal Kombat 1 just a week or two ago had a similar controversy around microtransactions for, I think it was the fatalities, which are basically just cutscenes in the new game. So you're paying like couple dollars for a cutscene to play every once in a while, it seems a little excessive. And yeah, stuff like this, just $15 for a skin is a little much.
Yeah. It is. It's kind of the. I'm about to sneak into my chat room and voice my rage. Oh no, Zando, you need to mayfly in here, dude. Mayfly in here and make it happen. We want to hear it. Yeah, it is. It is. It's so frustrating to see games like this do these kind of things, and so I'm sad to see microtransactions. I feel like there's an aspect of the like mobile industry that has bled in. Oh, I see. The mobile industry that has bled into the situation, and it's something. Tell us about it, Zando. What do you got to say?
Yeah, so the really annoying part, and I think that article touched obviously on the Ninja Turtle thing, where it was $15 for a single Ninja Turtle character for your avatar, not even the actual playable characters in game.
Right.
The thing with these new costumes is they're like, I think it's like 600 or 300 fighter coins for a character, which is about $6. But you can only buy the fighter coins in increments of $5. So if you want one costume, you have to pay $10 to get the one costume. It's just like predatory. It's like Microsoft points when they first came out. Like, oh, I only need this amount. Oh, I need to spend more money to get. That's ridiculous. And if you want to buy every single costume for every single character, you're spending over $100 for cosmetics.
That's insane.
It's insanity.
Yeah, I don't understand why they feel like they have to do this, especially for as loyal of a fan base as Street Fighter. Like, let's not abuse a fan base that has held us up over the course of these games. That's the biggest frustration. Is like I would expect this out of like Pixel Clicker 107 on the Google Play Store, but like this is Street Fighter. Like, come on, this is one of the biggest industries in games and one of the big league fighting game industry headliners. So why are we seeing this kind of behavior out of that big of a company?
Multiple folks had said if they had just charged like $30 for all 18 costumes, easy sale.
Yeah.
But now they're just a lot of people are boycotting the whole idea. I wanted that Zangief so bad. He's in a suit. He's got glasses that jiggle when he pounds people onto the ground. It's so cool. But I'm not going to pay $10 for it. It's ridiculous.
No. Yeah. That's insane.
All right.
Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us, Zando. I appreciate you hopping in.
Sorry for the cramped space here, Barry.
Yeah, it is funny how I'll be looking over and all of a sudden Perry will just be in the top of the screen, just crunched up top. That's fun. Yeah. I think we could probably run this one into the ground, saying how frustrating the economics of the game industry can be from time to time. But an obvious one. This is an easy. This is a softball, a lob. This is an obvious example of doing harm to a community, doing harm to a fan base, doing harm financially to people that are probably not doing well financially because nobody is right now. And so this is not the time, not the space, and not the instance for this kind of predatory behavior, if that is ever appropriate. So it's bad. It's bad. It's negative. It's not a good look for Street Fighter. Hopefully they pivot on this fairly quickly. Time will tell. We'll see how it continues to turn. We're going to get into our next news story, which I am particularly excited about. Take it away, Perry.
Let's say if that was doing harm, this is doing good.
Yes, appreciating a fan base, finally.
Absolutely. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, set for release on December 20th, 2024. Recently unveiled a new teaser featuring Shadow the Hedgehog, suggesting his significant role possibly as the antagonist in the upcoming film. This follows his brief appearance in Sonic the Hedgehog 2's mid-credits scene. While details about Shadow's exact role and voice actor remain undisclosed, the teaser offers a glimpse of his design, particularly his signature air shoes. The production of the movie had been delayed due to the SAG-AFTRA strikes, but now has resumed with Jeff Fowler directing. The returning cast includes Ben Schwartz as Sonic, Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails, Idris Elba as Knuckles, and James Marsden as Tom Wachowski. The film follows the success of its predecessor, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was a box office hit, and precedes a planned live-action TV spin-off starring Knuckles, expected early next year.
I am thrilled. I'm so excited for this. For those of you that do not know, Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle are my favorite Sonic games ever made. And I am not embarrassed to say that. I am not ashamed of myself. I love those games so much. And it makes me so happy to see that logo, which I'm going to try to zoom in here. But if you can see the Sonic 3 logo there, That is 100% the Sonic 2 logo, dude. That is just Sonic 2 Adventure Battle. I want it so bad. I will get the movie poster framed of that one alone just to have that sweet logo. The air shoes are certainly cool. I'm more intrigued by the scenes from Sonic. We'll see if they do the infamous bridge scene or any of the stuff with Shadow in particular. Will they give him a gun? Will they give him a gun? Who could say? He might have a gun in this one. I look forward. I've enjoyed Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. I know they've not been the most popular movies around, but they've done fine. And they've been kid movies, and they've been for kids, and they've done a good job doing that. I have a feeling I will definitely take Nora to go see this, and that will be an absolute blast of a time to see her, kind of squeal for Sonic and Tails and the gang as they do what they do. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled, and I loved this story. It made me just smile from ear to ear as I was reading it and looking at all the images and seeing the stuff that we've seen teased so far. I think we've got a great year ahead of some fun Sonic teasers. So, any thoughts? Sonic love for you, Barry?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved Sonic as a kid. I didn't have a Genesis growing up, but I had friends who did, so I used to play it with them, and then got a Genesis as a late teenager from a used game shop just to play the OG Sonic and Knuckles and all that stuff, and always had such a blast with those games. I loved the cartoon and the comics when I was growing up, and so I love that the movies are kind of catching that vibe. It's got some serious elements, but it's mostly fun. So it catches that sort of wisecracking comic energy that you get from Sonic, and I really loved the first movie. The second movie was fun, and I'm looking forward to catching the third one. Really enjoyed them. So it was fun to see a story about this. I didn't realize they had made the announcement until I saw the article. So it was sort of like a double whammy for me is this movie's coming out. Also, here's a bunch of information about it. So it was really exciting to share that one.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And if there's any other Sonic nerds out there, in particular 3D Sonic nerds, that want to geek out with this about this with me, then feel free to let me know your enthusiasm for this as well. I'm super thrilled. I think it's a good example of what you said, right? A fan base being properly appreciated and doted upon by a company. I really do like what Sega does with Sonic and the way they kind of hand the reins off pretty often to third-party people that truly love this series. And I think that Sonic Mania is a great instance of how that can be done and be done really well. And I'm hopeful. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, fun year ahead. But with that, we're going to move in to my personal favorite segment of the show.
At this point in nerd history.
That's right. It is at this point in history. What has come out in nerd history on this exact day, December 5th, throughout time and space? Perry and I are going to kind of ping pong back and forth here. So I'll let you kick it off with what games came out December 5th throughout time and space.
December 5th, 2006, we had Castlevania Portrait of Ruin and Rayman Raving Rabbids. The year prior, 2005, we had AC Wild World and Mario Tennis Power Hour, where we could have had Wall Peach, but did not, as well as Super Mario Strikers.
Yeah, that is a hat trick there. That is quite the three games to come out back to back to back. AC is, of course, Animal Crossing, a Wild World there.
Oh.
And then Mario Tennis. This was the GBA one, so it wasn't quite that exciting, but still pretty exciting. And then Super Mario Strikers, which people loved that title. And so, yeah, a real triple hitter there. Keep on going.
I'll only give a little bit of my Nintendo nerd cred since I did not play a lot of Animal Crossing growing up. I did not realize that's what AC meant. But thank you for that one, Nate.
It was Assassin's Creed Wild World, of course. Tom Nook.
Assassin's Creed Wild World, the infamous one, yes.
Yep.
And then the other two we have here are both from 1983. First is Pinball Game & Watch. And then NFL Football, which was unveiled in Chicago. It was the first video arcade game to be licensed by the National Football League.
Yeah, paving the way.
History, I like that.
Quite a future football games ahead. An interesting one, which I haven't heard about. I didn't know whether to put this in TV or movies or random, but in 1901 on this day, movie producer Walt Disney was born in Chicago. I really expected Disney to make a bigger deal out of Walt Disney's birthday, but they didn't. So happy birthday to Walt Disney in 1901.
All right, next up we've got movies. We had it in December 5th, 2007, Juno, the infamous indie darling movie that broke out. And then 2003, The Last Samurai, starring Tom Cruise.
That's right. Two more random ones thrown in here throughout time and space. The first one, kind of neck and neck with Street Fighter 6 here. In 1998, Jim Baker, infamous televangelist and conspiracy salesman, was indicted on fraud and conspiracy charges and is still selling some buckets today. In 1951, we got the first push-button controlled garage, which was opened apparently in Washington, D.C. So there you go. Push-button control garages have not been around near as long as I expected, but 1951 was whenever the first one walked into our lives here. So fun stuff there. Let us know if any of those fun facts got your attention or if you thought they were interesting. In particular, that triple hitter in 2005 really got my attention, and then hearing the beginning of NFL football was a pretty interesting one as well. But with that, we're going to get into our next segment of the show. We got quite a few things coming out in the next week, so let's go over some of the exciting upcoming releases that are coming out from December 5th until the 11th. Only one TV show is coming out on Apple TV, and it is a John Lennon docuseries called Murder Without a Trial.
For movies, we've got quite a bit coming up. On the 6th, we have The Abyss. On the 7th, we get Waitress, the musical. And then on the 8th, I believe the rest are the 8th. Is that right,
Yes.
Nate? We've got The Cello, the latest Ghibli film, The Boy and the Heron. Eileen, Poor Things, Magazine Dreams. On Netflix, we're getting Leave the World Behind, and I believe Fast Charlie and The End We Start From. And then on Prime, we're getting Merry Little Batman.
Yeah, some interesting ones there that we'll definitely come back and touch on, but we're going to move into comics. Both of our comics today are coming out on the 6th. The first one is Invasive, and the second one is Our Bones, Dust.
All right, and now I gotta get my voice ready for the list of games we have coming out.
So many
So many games. So dropping today, we have quite a few. We have a Highland Song, the addition of VR to the game Arashi Castles of Sin, Battle Stations Blockade, which is a voxel rail shooter, Born of Bread, a Paper Mario-inspired game, Chessarama, which is dreams but chess, Extremely Powerful Capybaras. I remember seeing a promo for that one. Goat Simulator 3 Mobile, Kingpin Reloaded, Puzzle and Dragons Story, Sonic Dream Team, and Stellaris Nexus. Tomorrow, on December 6th, we're getting Destroyer, the U-Boat Hunter, Hello Neighbor, Nikki's Diaries, and Arizona Sunshine 2 in VR. Then on the 7th, we'll be getting Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, coming out much earlier than expected, Lego Fortnite, Outer Wilds Archaeologist Edition, Nate, that's for you.
No way.
Silence Channel 2, Terminator Dark Fate, Defiance, and The Day Before. And then on the 8th, I have no... Is this
Say
spelled
Aptos.
correctly? Aptos Covert. All right. Back Then, and everybody's favorite, The Smurfs Colorful Stories.
Can't wait.
Then on the 10th, we are getting Sigil 2.
Quite a lot.
That's it.
Quite a lot of games,
Quite
quite
a
a
lot
lot
of
of movies coming out over the course of the next week. I'll start with some movies to highlight. I don't know, did any of those stand out to you? Have you heard anything about any of them? Other than The Boy and the Heron, obviously. That's Ghibli, we're very excited.
I will be 100% honest, of the things on that list, that and Waitress the Musical are the only two things I had any familiarity with. So
There's some big ones. There's some big ones out there. There is a Saw-like with Tobin Bell in particular. So Jigsaw himself is going to be in The Cello, which is about some kind of haunted cello. I don't know what the cello story is. I haven't seen the trailer, but if you like spooky stuff, it is about a cellist that gets a haunted cello that I don't know if it starts killing people or what, but should be interesting to see. Poor Things is a fairly, I don't know if it's a graphic novel. I don't know if it's a story or a book or what the situation is, but it's Emma Stone. I know that Buish is particularly excited about it. This is the one we've seen several trailers for at this point, red band trailers. I think it's going to be quite risque, but has a lot of things that people are very excited for. Emma Stone's eyebrows are just the entirety of the screen. They're just so big. They're just the biggest eyebrows anyone's ever seen, and I don't know what the story is behind that or if that's going to be one to see or a cult classic. We'll find out whenever that one drops this week. Fast Charlie is Pierce Brosnan being James Bond, but not James Bond. So if Brosnan is your Bond, you might enjoy Fast Charlie because he's coming back and is going to be cool once again. He is my Bond, so I always enjoy getting to see him in pretty much anything, even if it's Mamma Mia. And then in the world of video games, anything stand out to you there, Perry?
I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was really excited to see you stream Outer Wilds Archaeologist Edition. I'm really
I wonder
looking
what's
forward to
added.
that.
Is it just the DLC? Are there any, like, I don't know, control
I think we have to find out,
updates?
Nate.
Are
I
there
think
some
we need to find
control
out.
improvements? Is it maybe more accessible to
I-
everyone? Could it
I think
be?
they made it more realistic simulation of space
I don't
flight
need any
is what
more
they-
realism. No more realism or high up five-headedness. I don't need any more of that. No, thank you. Please. Yeah, there's a lot in here that I think are pretty intriguing. Born of Bread is one that I've had my eyes on in the indie world for quite a while now. Copying the Paper Mario style, but definitely making its own thing, but maintaining that like 2.5D appearance. I'll definitely be adding that one to my wish list and kind of keeping track with how it does on Backlogged. If it maintains a pretty strong thumbs up, then I will definitely be giving it a shot. Chessorama is interesting to me only because I think Dreams is a fascinating thing. I think it's a collection of chess-like games, and you just kind of go through them. Some people loved the Kingpin games. I didn't even know the Kingpin games existed, but people were apparently very excited that we're getting a remastered version of those. They kind of look like Max Payne, and I don't know what that's going to turn into. Sonic Dream Team is one that I think Sega might be embarrassed by. It's hitting the Apple Arcade today, and I have heard zero about it. I've seen no art for it. If you go on to their video game database, there's no screenshots. Nobody's talked about it on YouTube. It is as if it does not exist. So I don't know what's going on with that one, but it kind of slipped under the radar. Avatar, like you mentioned, Frontiers of Pandora is one that has kind of been moved up and kind of blew everybody away that it was happening. Arizona Sunshine is not my kind of game, but a lot of people are very excited about the sequel there, much anticipated. And then The Day Before is an intriguing one that popped up on my indie TikTok the other day that it kind of looked, honestly, like all I saw was the character creator and then some of the game, but it looked hyper realistic shooter roguelike experience. So if you like shooting games, if you're interested in that kind of experience, it did look super realistic and in that way could be fun. The character creator reminded me of Baldur's Gate. And so that was what kept me watching the video. And I'm intrigued to see how that one does and if it gets any attention. And I think those were all the ones that I noticed. I also couldn't believe we're getting another Hello Neighbor game. I have no idea who Nikki is. I don't know why Hello Neighbor has continued. I cannot believe that it is still a thing. And I certainly cannot believe they've gotten spin-offs at this point of that series. So baffling stuff. All right.
I'm just really glad to see that we've got the next GOTY, the Smurfs Colorful Stories.
The Smurfs Colorful
dropping.
Stories. You know, it did look interesting. Looked very interesting. I wonder if it's anything like Chicory. What if it's just Chicory? What if it's just a skin of Chicory, but it's just Smurfs?
So we just put Smurfs over top of Chicory.
I would play
characters,
every
yeah.
single minute. I'd play every
But
minute.
the skins cost $15 a piece.
Of course, yes. And that's all of the Smurfs and then some. Yeah,
Yes.
very expensive. All right. With that, we're going to move into our meme of the week. So, meme of the week. This week's meme of the week, as always, has been chosen from our memes and goofs section of our Discord. Again, exclamation Discord if you want to join that and be a part of that part of our community. I normally go with whatever one gets the most upvotes or reacts. And this time it was Xando Calrissian himself. It is a boomer meme here. Boomers, millennials just don't understand how the world works. Also boomers, tonight at midnight, Facebook will take ownership of all my photos unless I copy and paste this text. So good. So good. It gets me every single time. I follow somebody on TikTok that makes almost exclusively these types of jokes and does through the generations how like each generation would react to things on the internet. And it's so good. It's so good. It's so funny. It is getting sadder the older my parents get and the more and more they get like this. And I'm like, oh no, they're taking them. The abyss is taking them. So it is pretty funny stuff. Yeah, that is our meme of the week. Any thoughts on that one, Perry? Just appreciation, a gentle nod.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Truth.
So good. All right. Well, before we close up the show, Perry, I want to give you a chance to do any shout outs. Where can people find you? What should people be checking out? Any of that stuff. Let us know before we wrap this one up.
Yeah, you can find me on Discord way too much. Checkpoint Discord. I'm there. I'm in chat. I'm hanging out places. Not really in social, so not going to find me there, but you will find me on Discord pretty much all the time. In terms of shout outs, watch Feared. The hype is real. It's so good, and I need more people to talk about it with. Also, Sea of Stars. You should join Button Bash Brigade and play Sea of Stars with us. If you haven't already, come hang out and talk about cool games with us. So that's my shout outs right now.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yes, be sure to do any of those things. Join up in those spaces in our Discord. Button Bash Brigade needs more people because I want to talk about video games with more people. And it's really fun to play a game together. I've really enjoyed the camaraderie that I've experienced in that place. So I'm looking forward to more of that next year as we continue going forward with that initiative. With that, folks, this has been Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show delivered live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch each week, keeping your family connected to the world of nerdy news. If you watched this far, you probably liked this one. So remember to give it a 5-star on your favorite podcast app. Click that like button and make sure to recommend the show to all of the favorite nerds that you have out there. Is there going to be Twig next week? Yes, there will indeed be Twig. And with that, we're going to wrap it up with our 3 things. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here in this space. It's why we have this show. It's why we hang out all the time in all these spaces. And number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see you, whether it be on a stream this week or right here, same time, same place for the next episode of Twig, I look forward to seeing you then. Till next time, bye-bye!